Good morning, everyone. Adam Cousins working with PolarSeven. So I'm one of the principal cloud consultants here at PolarSeven, and I was key and still working with LivePro on this modernization journey. And I'll share a bit about how we tackled the approach of the discovery and the initial stages, and then into the build and some of the key aspects that Brad also touched on as well. So with LivePro and PolarSeven been working together for some time now, as Brad suggests and can confirm. So we've helped LivePro with their first build on the AWS Cloud, and we work closely, as Brad suggests as well, on improvements and cost optimizations through our managed service. And as part of our service, we also offer architectural advice. So keeping tabs on things such as service or feature releases, new design patterns, we bring this information to help drive modernizations. And the key to success of any project is really understanding the problems the organization is facing. So exploring the initial problems of LivePro, we discovered really two streams of problem statements. The business lens. So the business and product stakeholders, they want to go global. They want to service more customers across more regions as LivePro continues to expand. And as customer adoption increases, a tiering model was also developed. And some customers have specific requirements. Some LivePro customers have specific requirements for data or infrastructure segregation, and others simply do not. So aligning that design of the infrastructure with the business models allows us to allocate the correct budget to the infrastructure, and opens up the LivePro platform for customers of any size and any budget. So we're not excluding customers because we built a design in a certain way. We also understand that from LivePro and many other customers going through this journey, that continual compliance is important as well. So Brad touched on there that they're SOC compliant. So both from being compliant against SOC or ISO or similar frameworks, and try to reduce the request of information from customers. I think most organizations receive large documents or spreadsheets for customers to fill in. Continual compliance really beats them to that punch. So generating maybe periodical reports, demonstrating that compliance state could be a great way of keeping their customers informed and confident that their data is secured. And then finally, LivePro as a software as a service partner with AWS, and key to strengthening this partnership is executing a foundational technical review, or FTR. So this review is performed by an AWS solutions architect, and they really assess the environment across standards similar to the well-architected framework. And that's to validate that AWS best practices are being followed and also demonstrated as well. So this really helps unlock further opportunities for LivePro and the customers that they service. And then with the technology lens, so the LivePro platform is very much driven through its technology and applications. And the LivePro team, the technical team, really understand their business problems and align the technical problems with that in mind. So to ensure a consistent customer experience across going global, across many regions on the AWS platform, it's important that their customers are interacting with the platform hosted in the closest geographical region. So using AWS regions to deploy infrastructure into those specific regions, we can achieve that. And then to meet the requirements of data and infrastructure segregation, we use AWS accounts as the boundary to separate customer environments. So in that example where some customers need dedicated infrastructure, they would receive a dedicated deployment isolated in their own AWS account. And then in the other models where customers may want to have a more multi-tenancy model and have a smaller budget to spend on such a platform, that would be in a shared AWS account. But still their data would be separated using logical separation in the services. And as the LivePro business continues to expand into new regions and new customers, there's a strong focus on keeping that operational effort as low as possible. So really we achieve this through infrastructure and deployment automation, and then adapting as many managed services, AWS managed services as possible. So to understand the requirements in more detail, we ran through a series of workshops with the LivePro team, and we collaborate together with both technical and non-technical stakeholders to really gain a better understanding of those problem statements. And throughout these workshops, we share our knowledge of the AWS platform, our experience of working with certain services and features, and techniques on automated deployment and service adoption. And as a AWS Advanced partner, we really bring our what you could call battle scars from the past 8+ years working with AWS to try and help advise and guide the final outcomes of modernization projects. An outcome of this discovery phase is a future state architecture and a design document, which provides really the context for the build team. There is some assumptions made in the design document. Not everything is fleshed out to the nth degree, but they are further fleshed out through the build phase and collaboration with the LivePro team. So after the discovery and design phase, we move into a build phase. And the key to the success of any project is really to get the foundations right. So the foundation in this case really starts with what's known as a landing zone. And a landing zone is a bit of a concept which helps customers set up multi-account and secure AWS environments following the AWS best practices. So we recommend for building landing zones to use the AWS Control Tower service for all of our modernization projects. On top of AWS Control Tower, though, we do build a set of customizations tailoring the landing zone to the specific customer's requirements. So Control Tower is a great service, but it only goes so far. And with our consultancy and AWS experience, we build those customizations. So Control Tower out of the box deploys an AWS audit account for security services and auditing purposes, and a log archive account for centralizing and securing activity logs. On top of the landing zone, we develop a network baseline using VPCs and VPC peering in a hub and spoke model, and a security baseline leveraging AWS Security Hub. With VPC peering, we selected peering to keep the costs low and operational effort low. And with Security Hub, we was selected to monitor against all accounts across the organization against common frameworks, such as PCI DSS, Computer Information Standards, or the AWS best practices. As the number of AWS accounts grow, so as I described earlier, we might have dedicated infrastructure for an individual account. As that grows, there needs to be a strong focus on providing a single layer of access control and remote administration. And the LivePro team have adopted the Azure AD service as their dedicated federation provider. So we integrate with that service with a single set of credentials to access the AWS console or API, and also integrate with the AWS client VPN service for providing that remote access to the environment. Now, moving to the application modernization stage of the build, we help LivePro migrate their PHP monolith application and Yellowfin reporting platform that was currently hosted on the EC2 service into a container-based environment hosted on the AWS Fargate service. The primary driver for this was to really reduce that operational effort and increase stability, scalability, and reliability at the same time. One of the side benefits, though, moving to a container approach was the ability to use Docker in local environments, which closely matched the production environments. For the most part, going to a container-based solution was really a drop-in replacement. 99% of the functionality of the application remained unchanged. The LivePro platform itself did receive some attention and some improvements, specifically around the search capability, moving away from an Apache Solr deployment to adopting the AWS managed Elasticsearch service. Again, this was just to reduce that operational overhead and effort and allow the platform really to scale to meet the demands of the customer. So throughout all AWS service creation, deployments, automation, we heavily rely on the AWS CloudFormation service as our preferred infrastructure as code tool. And then we leverage the Scepter open source tool to drive stack deployment and coordination. So with the application stack changes and consuming more AWS managed services, the operational responsibilities are reduced, but not entirely removed. So for example, for patching of the container images is still required, which we build into the automated build process. Monitoring the environment is still required, which we use the CloudWatch service with metrics and alarms. For DR and business continuity, we use the AWS backup service, and we perform cross-account backups so that there's a a concept of an off-site storage with a pilot-light solution for the infrastructure. For logging, we rely upon the AWS CloudWatch log service, and we use the S3 buckets for centralizing logs in the log archive account for things like load balancer access logs and S3 access logs. And for security, we leverage the AWS Security Hub service, but we integrate with all the other security services such as GuardDuty, Macie, IAM Access Analyzer, and AWS Detective. So to ensure the LivePro team focuses on the primary value adds, such as feature development, improving the customer experience, PolarSeven take care of operating the AWS platform. Much like how we recommend leveraging AWS managed services for our customers to focus on their primary objectives, managing the infrastructure of the AWS footprint isn't part of our customers' objective, but much just a requirement of. So PolarSeven managed services really allows our customers and their technical team to focus on that business value, but PolarSeven carry the responsibility of ensuring services are meeting the SLA dedicated to their customers. And as Brad touched on as well, ongoing proactive reviews are performed by the PolarSeven managed team, aligning with the AWS well-architected framework. So this is to ensure costs are driven down, optimizations are had, and the operations, reliability, performance, and security of the environment is really discussed on a regular basis. And throughout this managed contract, we also support LivePro to drive continual evolution of their platform. So all organizations must continue to evolve just to ensure that they're leaders of their target market and to ensure they're ahead of the competition. So PolarSeven and LivePro collaborate monthly to assess their environment, review any new features or releases released by AWS, and to drive down costs and improvements to their platform. Some areas which are already being explored as we speak is adopting microservice architectures, using services, AWS services such as Lambda, DynamoDB, and this is really around developing new features for the application and trying breakaway components from that monolith application. We're also looking at and assisting with data analytics services such as AWS Glue and Athena and data lakes on S3. This is really to understand the LivePro customers better, and using the AWS Athena service to provide LivePro customers access to their own data and to be consumed by their own reporting platforms. And I'd just like to thank LivePro for their expertise and support throughout this project, and looking forward to working with them in the future. Thanks, Daryl.